The countdown has begun. Trump just drew a line in the sand for Putin: end the war in Ukraine or face consequences that could reshape the world. But behind the public threats, whispers of a secret deal are emerging. Will history see this as the chance for peace, or the first spark of World War III? In a move that stunned allies and rattled Moscow, Trump issued a blunt ultimatum: end the war in Ukraine or face a global economic chokehold. No negotiations, just pressure. Markets felt the tremor instantly. Oil futures spiked, energy prices jumped, and investors across Europe braced for impact. Because Trump isn't just talking sanctions, he's threatening to cut off Russia's lifeline. The target isn't just Putin. Trump's pressure campaign stretches across the globe. China, India, Turkey, every nation, keeping Putin's war machine alive. Trump's circle calls it strategic compression. Translation? Strangle the buyers and you strangle the Kremlin. If enforced, this could slash Russia's war chest by billions overnight. But here's the risk. Punishing Russia's partners means punishing global markets. India's refineries, Europe's gas flows, even China's manufacturing chain, all could take a direct hit. Is Trump boxing Putin in, or boxing the whole world into chaos? Russian state media mocked the ultimatum, calling it a joke. But off-air, the tone was anything but playful. Putin hasn't blinked, but the economy has. The ruble sank to new lows. Energy markets shook. And behind closed doors, diplomats scrambled to contain the fallout. Russia's official line, calm. But unofficially, Kremlin insiders are weighing retaliation, from cyber attacks to recalibrating their nuclear posture. Mockery outside, panic inside. The ultimatum also exposed cracks in NATO. Eastern states like Poland and the Baltics are cheering Trump's stance, seeing it as the toughness they've long demanded. But Germany and France are warning that cornering a nuclear power is dangerous, that panic in Moscow could spark rash decisions. Meanwhile, Britain and Finland are quietly preparing their militaries for worst-case scenarios. And then there's China. Beijing's state media accused Trump of destabilizing diplomacy, warning that Washington is risking a wider conflict just to prove a point. Allies or adversaries in disguise? What happens if Putin ignores the clock? Trump's prepared to go much further. Full-spectrum energy sanctions, a formal freeze on Russian assets in global banks, even pre-authorized U.S. troop movements in Eastern Europe. And behind closed doors, reports suggest that contingency strike plans are already drafted. Whether they're real or just leverage, that's the part no one can confirm. Russia has already signaled its answer, warning it may reassess its nuclear posture if Trump escalates. Analysts call it reckless brinkmanship. Supporters call it peace through power. History tells us deadlines are dangerous. They don't just end conflicts, they can ignite them. The Cuban Missile Crisis was triggered by ultimatums. The Gulf War? Deadlines. Every clock ticks louder when nuclear powers are involved. Ultimatum or ignition. In Kyiv, the reaction was different. President Zelensky called Trump's deadline a power move, saying when America means business, Russia backs off. Ukraine's leaders are urging Trump to go even further, pressing for direct U.S. involvement before the clock runs out. But critics warn, a cornered Putin may not back down. He may lash out. And in a nuclear arms standoff, miscalculation is the enemy. Some insiders claim Trump isn't just threatening sanctions. He's offering Putin an out. The so-called secret deal would freeze Ukrainian NATO membership in exchange for Russian withdrawal. Others say it's about oil, guaranteeing Moscow limited energy sales to India or Turkey if the bombs stop falling. No official confirmation, no documents released, just speculation and silence from the White House. But the timing, too precise to ignore. Is it peace or just politics? The markets are already acting as if the war has widened. Oil up 3% overnight, defense stocks climbing fast. Even Brazil and Turkey are recalculating alliances because when America issues ultimatums, neutral countries are forced to pick sides. And in today's world, that could mean the difference between staying out of conflict or being dragged in. The global chessboard is shifting. So here's the haunting question. What happens when the deadline hits and Putin does nothing? Does Trump push the button on sanctions that could destabilize half the world economy? Or does Russia retaliate in ways no one's prepared for? Trump's ultimatum could bring peace, or light the fuse for World War III. The countdown has begun, and the world is bracing for impact. Subscribe for more turning points and power plays they don't want you to see. Inside Room 45. Because what they're not telling you might be the most important part of the story.